So we have two Saturday games this week. This is what I like to call the divorce package. As my wife laughs at that because we like to spend time together on Saturdays, but we can't because there are two games. Not that I'm complaining. I love football. So the first game is Bills at the Broncos. The line opened up Bills -4.5. It's up to 6.5. It's actually 7 in some books like BetUS. So there's a lot of money coming in on the Bills, and I think it looks like sharp action on the Bills. So who do you like in this game?
Yeah, before I say that, I got to say the Saturday package this year is coming at a bad time because we also got the college championship games on Saturday. And I know that's a weird scheduling quirk. Like, that never happens, but like, I'm going to have to watch these games and the Notre Dame Clemson and the Alabama Florida games all at the same time. And it's going to be chaos. And I am slightly annoyed by that, but I won't complain. Like, who's going to complain about there being football on, really?
Well, you're not married, so you get to enjoy that without any repercussions.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't have to worry about a divorce at this point. So I should be good on that front. Yeah, and this I kind of waffled on this one a little bit. I think I'm going to be on the Bills here, though. I just don't want to bet against Josh Allen. I think the Broncos, they looked pretty good last week, and I think they showed that Vic Fangio is just a pretty good coach. It also showed that Drew Lock is just a very up and down passer and that he has a lot of talent and he can take advantage of weaker defenses. And we saw that against Carolina. And I think next year, Lock might be able to make the leap if the Broncos can stay healthy and have their receiving core. But I just don't think that he's going to do well against a good defensive coach like Sean McDermott. I think that they're going to have a plan in place to get a lot of pressure on Lock. I think that they're going to try to force him into turnovers and mistakes. And, once one of those happens for Drew Lock, it's kind of starts a little bit of a landslide. Like, he can just throw 4 picks in one game. And I think the Broncos should be able to run on the Bills, which is why at first I was kind of like, oh, maybe I'll take the Broncos in this one. But I think if the Bills come into the game and plan and say, hey, we really need to stop the run here. You saw what we did to Ben Roethlisberger when we rendered the Steelers one-dimensional. If we do that to the Broncos and make Drew Lock beat us, we should be able to do this. So I think the Bills should cover this, and where the Sharps are going with them, I think I'm slightly confident in that pick. I don't know if I'm going to be confident enough to bet it, though. Maybe one unit on this. I'll check the injury report later because the Broncos have all sorts of injuries on defense and are without AJ Bouye, which is another big thing because their secondary won't be able to cover the Bills, so the Bills offense will produce. It's just a matter of, can Drew Lock do anything on the Bills defense? And right now I would lean towards no on that.
Yeah, I'd lean towards no as well. There's a big difference between playing against the Carolina defense and the Buffalo defense. And the Bills, they had a stretch where they were kind of struggling defensively, but I think that's done because they got Matt Milano back. He's such a good linebacker, and when he came back the first time from injury, he just wasn't healthy, and it was obvious. But now he's definitely healthy, and the Bills are stopping the run, and they have great corners to take away the receivers. And I think that Drew Lock, just being a young quarterback going against a good defensive coordinator, I think, or good defensive coach, I should say, and Sean McDermott is, I think that's a big advantage for the Bills. And I also think the Bills have another advantage. Like you mentioned, AJ Bouye being out with the suspension. Bryce Callahan's out too because he's on injured reserve. So being down 2 cornerbacks against a great receiving core, I think that just benefits the Bills a lot. And I think I'm definitely on the Sharps with the Sharps here on the Bills. I wish we were still getting 4.5 because we crossed a key number of 6 and looks like we're going to a key number of 7. So yeah, I'm going to be on the Bills for 3 units if it stays to 6.5, and if it goes to 7, probably 2 units.
Yeah, you could probably convince me to go up to 2 units at 6.5. At 7, I'd probably keep it at 1. I think you're right, though. The Bryce Callahan absence is going to be huge, too. And John Brown might come back off injured reserve. So Buffalo might have their top 4 receivers available. And Gabe Davis has done well with John Brown out. But if they're back, we could see some 4 receiver sets from Buffalo because they have a really, really talented group there.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. Speaking of receivers, Ramos Lynn and Jamil Thompson, they both mentioned that Ruggs is out for the Raiders. Does that affect your pick at all?
No, he hasn't done much at all this year. Maybe he could have broken a long one against the Chargers defense, but I would think Nelson Aguilar is more important to the team than him at this point. Ruggs has kind of been a disappointment, which was why I kind of thought he was going to be the third receiver taken instead of the first. He should develop, but he's been nothing but inconsistent so far.
Yeah, it's not like Darren Waller would be out. Like that would be a big
Yeah.
deal. Like that's the even though he's a tight end, he's their number one receiver. Like they spread it around so much outside of Waller that I don't think it really matters. Now, if they were down Ruggs and Aguilar and Renfro, then I'd be like, okay, the Chargers seem like a great play. But just being down Ruggs I don't think it's a big deal. The other